more tailored towards stuff that might be more of interest to you, but also you might just be like me and be a Manchester United fan, but know that there's way more to football than just Manchester United. So you just want to have general football chat. So without further ado, these questions for this show I took off Instagram. So if you're not following me on Insta and Twitter, it's at Rants and Bants on both of them. It's not hard to find me. I'll be throwing out questions on either, so I might just alternate between the two. All right, let's get into your questions. This is from S_Dersim, Dersim. Do you think Sterling is really world class, or is it just a Pep effect? What I would say to that is it depends on what your definition of world class is, because everyone's definition of world class differs. One thing I would say is if it's debatable whether someone's world class or not, then they're probably not. That's in my opinion. And for instance, certain people will say you have to be in the top 5 in your position to be world class. Some people say, some people might say otherwise. But I think that the scope for world class is way too big. I used to think, and my opinion has changed before, that, for instance, remember in Pro Evo, there used to be like an all-star European 11 or all-star world 11. I used to think, right, if you weren't good enough to be in one of those teams, then you weren't world class. But by a lot of people's definitions of world class, that's not true either. So what I like to do now is I like to have an elite class level that's above world class, because I feel like the world class net is too wide, isn't it? So for instance, Messi and Ronaldo are above world class. So I'm not going to just be like, oh yeah, they're world class, bruv. Do you know what I mean? Because them men are not on the same level of these other men. Like, for instance, if a man's going to say Raheem Sterling's world class, but for me, he's not on the same level as like a Neymar or a Griezmann. So for me, them men are elite players then, if Raheem Sterling's world class. I don't think they're the same level at all. And that's how I look at it, innit? So I just think that there's different levels to football. Like, I just think there's different levels. And I think with elite players, there's a certain amount of deliberation and ease that they just make the game look like. Do you know what I mean? And that's always been my thing. Like, with real elite players, they just do things that you just think, wow, like how have they done that? Like, do you know what I mean? And no disrespect to Sterling, but like I've never seen him score a goal or do anything, and I thought, oh my god, like this is out, like it's blown my mind. Like, never. Like, and that's not me saying I don't think he's a good player. When man said, is it the Pep effect? I don't think it's the Pep effect. I think Sterling's always been a good player. I think his game is more efficient now under Pep. At Liverpool, he always had good close control dribbling. His decision making and his end product was always inconsistent. Now, for me, it's still inconsistent, but the difference is his football brain has developed so much under Pep Guardiola that his movement is better. Yeah, he just knows where to be. If you look at most of his goals for Man City, popping up at the back post, it's like Pep has finely tuned the talent that he clearly has and has taken it up a notch. So now it's more about the numbers, and he's creating more chances and scoring more chances, bro. When you look at his numbers in the last 2 years, you can't deny those are fucking top numbers, bro. They're top numbers. Do you see what I'm saying? So if we're just looking at numbers alone, you have to say that Raheem Sterling's world class. You have to, blood. You have to. It's that simple. Do you know what I mean? So it just depends on what you see as world class. I believe he's world class, but I believe that there's a class above that people are saying that he's in, that I don't think he's in. Because a lot of the time when people are saying he's world class, they're saying that he's this like world class, like he's the highest in football, and I don't believe that. Do you know what I mean? I believe like the Griezmanns and them, man, like the Messis, Ronaldos, like even the Eden Hazards and that, when them man are ready to turn on, like them man are unplayable simply. And like there was a video of Paul Scholes on Twitter yesterday doing the rounds, And also there was an old throwback one that I shared. And I said, when man are comparing Scholes to Gerrard and Lampard, they need to be comparing Scholes to Xavi and fucking Pirlo, blood, because there's levels to this football thing. If man are saying Lampard and Gerrard are world class, then Paul Scholes was a level above that, blood. And you see elite level players, them man always know what they're going to do before the ball gets to them. They're always 2 steps ahead of play. The reason why Zidane could play left wing for Real Madrid with no pace is because his football brain was so sharp, blood. He was always 2 passes ahead of the game. Scholes, before he gets the ball, he knows where he's passing the ball and then where he's going to move to next to receive it to play the next pass. That's what Paul Scholes does. Do you know what I mean? My one criticism of Sterling and players like Rashford and of that ilk that have pace is their decision making ain't great, innit? And a lot of the time they wait till they receive the ball before they decide what they're going to do with it. But because they've got pace, a lot of the time they get away with it. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, and that's the thing, is the dribble, then hesitate. Should I pass it? Should I not pass it? And all of that hesitation. Whereas when you see players that don't have the pace, they just tend to know, innit? And you can kind of see the difference. Like, if you're really studying the game, you can kind of see the difference between a player that has a picture in their head and a player that improvises. And I still think that Sterling improvises, but because he's so quick, he just gets away with it. Do you know what I mean? And that's not a criticism on him, because I think he's a top player. Like the last England game, it was offside. He skied one over the bar and people were like mocking him and that. But bruv, we come to expect that from him, because he'll do that. Like in a game, he'll score a hat-trick and probably miss 4 as well. Do you know? But Mo Salah does that. Do you know what I mean? So what, a man are going to say, what, Mo Salah's not world class? Mo Salah had the most, I think he had the most misses and like unforced errors, and like he missed the most scoring opportunities in the league, and he got the golden boot, bruv. So just because you miss chances, that doesn't mean you're not world class. Do you see what I mean? But the top level, the elite level, the Messi, Ronaldo level, the level where I feel like you have to be top 5 in your position, yeah? Raheem's not there. He's not for me. But that don't take nothing away from him. What it just means is, what do you think is world class? Do you know what I mean? If world class is the be all and end all of football and there's nothing above world class, then I don't think he's there. But if you're allowing for a ceiling above world class, and world class is just means, yo, like you're a top player in this game kind of thing, then he's world class. So let me know what you think. But this is all about opinions. That's all it's about. There's no right or wrong answer. No one can't turn around and say Raheem's not world class. Just like someone can turn around and say he is. Like, bruv, it's down to your interpretation of the word world class. The 2 words world class. Because if you open the dictionary, I'm sure world class is not in there, bruv. So it's all about opinions. That was fucking long, but it was a very good question, and there's so many nuances to questions like that. So I try to be objective and see it from both sides. Okay, next one. Your name is just a joke, blood. I don't even know how to read this, bruv. So I'm just not even going to, fam, because it looks like alphabet soup still, not gonna lie. Who's the best youngster that did not live up or meet their expectations or potential in your opinion? You could say Ravel Morrison, but I think as well Adel Taarabt, blood. Like, bruv, some of the noises I was hearing about Adel Taarabt, yeah, from Tottenham when he was there, from man I know that played with him at QPR and stuff like that. Some of the stuff he was doing in training was beyond wizardry, blood. Like, man were talking about him like he was Ronaldinho. So, and even the season he had in the Championship, what he was doing, bruv, like he was doing stuff in the Championship that at any level, it's a fuck crease, blood. And the Championship's the hardest, the most competitive league in world football, bruv. That's what they say. It's the hardest league to get out of. Adel Taarabt took the piss in that league, bruv. So man have to respect that. You know what I mean? There's loads of question marks over his attitude and all these things, but I tell you what, he's one of the most talented footballers I've seen with my 2 eyes. The guy is unbelievable. Unbelievable. You know what I mean? Man can talk about lifestyle and all that, but in terms of pure talent, he's right up there. Right up there. Let me know who you think, guys. Next one is Kenny_A. What's your thoughts on the Roy Keane and Fergie saga? Bro, I don't really think too much about it, to be honest. I think they're two very stubborn men, yeah, that are very similar. Like, they have a lot of similar traits. It's not a surprise that they don't get on. A lot of the time when people tend to not get on, it tends to be because they have very, very similar traits, innit? And I think that they both, the things that cause their relationship to break down is also the same thing that made them very good at what they are. Do you know what I mean? The traits that Fergie had, which made him an amazing manager, made him a ruthless, successful manager, are the same traits that made Roy Keane a strong, solid leader of men and the best captain, arguably in the club's history, and one of the best captains of his era. Do you know what I mean? And there were some fucking serious captains, bro. Do you know what I mean? But in terms of what he won and what he led his team to win and the comebacks in the Champions League and all that, you could say that Roy Keane is arguably one of the best captains of his era. So I think that the traits that they both that caused their relationship to combust are the two things that made them the men they are. So, like, it's not about taking sides. I think Keno's right in a lot of the stuff he says about Sir Alec, and I'm sure Sir Alec would be right about Keane, because they're both being honest. Do you know what I mean? They both got arsehole traits. They have, bruv. Do you know what I mean? And just because Keane was a great captain and Fergie was a great manager, that doesn't mean we have to overlook either of them. So I'm not of the opinion that we have to take sides on this. I'm not. I love them both for what they've done for the football club. But as men, I can see why certain things they've done is very questionable. So yeah, let me know what you think in the comment section, guys. I am the Mike 17. Is the 2010 Barcelona team the greatest team ever? The greatest club team? Arguably, mate. Arguably. To be honest, a lot of people have been saying it has been. Me personally, I really enjoyed the Frank Rijkaard Barcelona team. I don't know why. I don't really know why. I don't know. I thought they were defensively more solid. I think the Pep tiki-taka football was different. If I'm honest, when he was the Barcelona manager, I wasn't into Barcelona like that. I wasn't really. Like, I was into Barcelona growing up as a child. Like the Romario R9 days, do you know what I mean? And then Cliver and that. And then post Ronaldinho leaving, I kind of stopped watching Barcelona. I'm not going to lie. He was a big reason. Like, Barcelona always had their marquee Brazilian in it, and all the way through, I always used to follow them. Romario R9, and then I got my Ronaldinho. Then after that, there was no one, bruv. Do you know what I mean? And then when Neymar came back, I was like, yeah, you know what I mean. And it's just like, yeah, growing up, I used to follow Brazil and that. Like, my uncle always used to have me watching Brazil and that, so I had that kind of connection with them. So the 2010 team, a very talented team. I think in terms of what they won, you can't really argue that. Do you know what I mean? But I feel like the Rijkaard team with Eto'o, with Henry, still had Messi, still had Ronaldinho, had Thuram and Abadal at the back as well. Their man was solid, bro. Do you know what I mean? And Yaya Toure as well. I feel like that squad was very solid. And it was a bit more physical as well. Like, I would love to see them two teams play each other. I think that Rijkaard's team could have beaten them. I genuinely do. But saying that, bro, like, Iniesta, you know what I mean? It's a mad one, you know? It's a mad one. I can't even lie. The Iniesta Xavi in Pep's days were probably better. So, it's a hard one, bruv. I'm not even going to lie. But I wouldn't argue against anyone that said that team. But I just preferred Rijkaard's football, his team, and yeah, just the era of predictability. I felt like there were just more men that could kill you in that team. Do you know what I mean? In the Pep team, you kind of knew who was going to kill, man. But I just feel like Eto'o is a shooter, Henry's a shooter, Messi's a shooter, Ronaldinho's a fucking wild card. You don't know what he's going to do. Yaya Toure is a bad man as well. You know what I mean? I don't know. But that's down to preference. Again, there's no right or wrong answer, guys. Let me know, who do you think is the best club team ever in football? The next one, underscore Suman underscore Powdell or something. It says Roberto Firmino or Harry Kane. The reason why you can't ask me that question is because you know that Firmino's my favourite footballer outside of Paul Pogba in the Premier League. I've said it many times, so it's obviously going to be Firmino. However, like, what are you asking? Because if you're asking me for if like I got a penalty and I have to choose one player to take it, then I'll choose Harry Kane. Even though he missed the other night, brother, I still trust Harry Kane from the spot, innit? Like, he's the kind, I've seen man take 2 penalties in the same match, blood. Like, and step up and dispatch both of them calmly. Like, I trust Harry Kane. As a finisher, I think Harry Kane's a better finisher as well. But as an all-around player that's going to link the play, facilitate the way my team want to play, be selfless, press and do all these things, it's Bobby all day, fam. It's Bobby all day. So it just depends on what kind of football you want to play. If you want to play a style of football where you need a 30-goal a season striker and he needs to be the focal point of your attack, then you pick Harry Kane. If you're playing with 2 wide forwards that are going to get on a score sheet for you and you need a fulcrum and you need the glue, then you pick Bobby Firmino. So let me know who your choice is, but mine has to be the teeth, blood. Man like Bobby with the $1 million smile, my guy, Bobby Schmurder, blood. All right. Tope.lawal, it says, do you rate Aubameyang? Again, like, what does it mean to rate him? Do you know what I mean? Because it depends on what I'm rating. I think he's a good goal scorer. I think Aubameyang scores goals, bro. So I rate him as a goal scorer. Do I rate him as a footballer? Not really. I think his link play's dead. Like, you know what I mean? I think his dribbling's dead. But like, he's just an old-fashioned like poacher, bruv. Like, his movement is A1. Like, the goal he scored the other day, where the ball come in and he ran between the 2 defenders and like kind of just touched it past the goalkeeper, bruv. That's world-class movement and finishing, you know. That's like old-fashioned number 9 dispatching, bruv. Like, that's elite, that movement. But other than the goals that man scores and gets in a position to score, like, if you want a team that plays total football, and that's how I like my team, I like everyone to be involved, there's too many periods of the game where Aubameyang's just not involved, blood. And I just don't feel like, in my team, I don't want a player that I'm carrying hoping that he does something, blood. Like, I would rather play a man that I know is going to be involved for 90 minutes. Do you know what I mean? I think gone are the days where just scoring goals is enough to get into a team that I would be selecting. However, any manager that wants to play that kind of way, I can see why he might be an option for them, because he's a good finisher. He's a good finisher. I don't think he's elite finisher, but I think he's a good finisher, bro. He'll score you goals, innit? If Aubameyang will do anything for you, is he will score you goals. And at the end of the day, that's not a bad fucking habit to have, bro. Do you know what I mean? If the rest of your game is going to be bog standard, be a goal scorer, innit? And that's exactly what Aubameyang is, bruv. So at the end of the day, like, my opinion on Aubameyang, yeah, isn't really important. The bottom line is, one thing no one can argue is that brother knows where the goal is, innit? All right. Dame_$12. Is Southgate the best England manager? Again, the best is all about how you view football, innit? What I would say is, in my lifetime, I've never been excited or even keen to watch England play football until now. And that's down to Southgate. I think this is the best football we've played. It's not necessarily, well, it's not the best group of players we had, because we had a golden generation. But I tell you what, the style of football, the philosophy, the fact that he's trying to keep it young, he's not trying to shoehorn experienced old players into the team, and he's going with youth, he's going with pace, he's going with exuberance. I think that Southgate's the perfect manager for England. I think he matches where England are as a nation in terms of their ability. Everyone's overhyping England. England are not top 4 or even top 10 in the world, bruv. Like, they're not in it. So you don't need a top 10 manager, bruv. Do you see what I'm trying to say? Like, for the level that England are at, Southgate's the right coach. He is. It's that simple. I think in international football, England are like, they're like, who can I compare them to? maybe like Everton or something like that. That's where England are in terms of international football. They're not a top 6 team, but they're not far off, innit? Like, that's where England are. Anyone that's trying to gas England above that, they're smoking crack. That's just where it is. So, for that level, I think Gareth Southgate's the right guy. He should get time. He should get patience. He should be allowed to implement his style and his philosophy, because England ain't winning nothing no time soon. And he's English, he's young, and he's got a plan in it. So just let him do it, bruv. Like, England have always gone for these little short-term things. Man had some donkey McLaren, Hodgson and that. These men are clowns, fam. They went for the Sven Boring Eriksson thing, yeah, and the Capello. It didn't work, bruv. You know what I mean? So just having man on paper that have won these things, that don't guarantee shit either. The facts are, Southgate has done it at like the under 21 level and like the youth level, and it's the natural progression for him to go up to senior level and try his hand there, bruv. And I'm behind it. 100% behind it. As I've said before, man's never been excited to watch England play. And now, I'm going to see teams thump man up. Like, scoring 5 and 6 goals at a time. Young, quick, positive wingers and that. Like, come on now. I'm behind Southgate. Let me know what you guys think. And I know that's not a popular opinion either, because I know a lot of men think that England need to get rid of Southgate, but not me. K_Bacala. Top 3 midfielders to ever play in the Premier League. Paul Scholes, Yaya Toure, Steven Gerrard, bruv. I don't personally think that's debatable, but some people might. Yaya Toure, at the peak of his powers, was ridiculous. It's that simple. That simple. Man had the athleticism and explosion of a Paul Pogba, the strength of a Lukaku, blood. Like, man scored 3 kicks, penalties, 20-yarders, headers. Yaya Toure did everything, you know, goals, assists and everything. Yaya Toure, I think in Yaya Toure's best season of goal and assists, I don't think either of the 2 guys that I mentioned even beat that. I'm not even gonna lie. Yaya Toure is a freak, blood. For me, he's the best all-round midfielder I've seen in the Premier League. All round, blood. Like, in terms of everything, he had it all, bruv. He dribbled like a winger as well. Like, I see man carry the ball from the halfway line and then clap it top bins and that. So, Yaya Toure for me, but Paul Scholes is, in terms of elite level, in terms of consistency, Paul Scholes, genius, bruv. And then Steven Gerrard, isn't he? He's a scouser, bruv. Man, I don't need to talk about him. All right, next one. Sudi PPG or Sudeep PG, I don't know. Which duo was better, Modric and Kroos or Iniesta and Xavi? Iniesta and Xavi. I don't think that's a hard one at all. Luka Modric, quality player. Toni Kroos, quality player. But I don't know, bruv. This might sound a bit booky to some people, but I think Toni Kroos has been overrated for a while, you know. I really do. Like, I watch what he does on that, yeah, and like, honestly, that bro don't really look much better than Michael Carrick to me, bruv. Like, I know certain people might be like, what? But bruv, I think Michael Carrick was so underrated, you know. I think, man, I feel like sometimes when a man's foreign, yeah, like, guys just don't put respect on their name the same way, fam. I honestly don't see anything that Toni Kroos does that Michael Carrick couldn't do, bruv. And Michael Carrick was doing it with both feet, fam. I'm not gonna lie to you. Luka Modric is one of the best centre mids that I've seen. At the peak of his powers, he could dribble, pass. You know what I mean? He didn't score as much goals as I think he should for a player of his ability, but I think Luka Modric was a mustard player. But I just think that Iniesta and Xavi are both at that top elite level of football, whereas I just don't think, I think them two combined are a good bit clear of Kroos and Modric. Let me know what you think. Good question. And last but not least, P.BC11. What's the difference between good players and great players? And obviously that's in my opinion. And you know what's mad? I think I just explained that, bruv. Like, when I was talking about my world class to elite thing. I think that a lot of that's in there, bruv. I think that the difference between good players and great players is great players have the technical ability and they have it up here as well. And when it comes together, it just looks so effortless and beautiful. And then you get the good players that have the skill to do certain things, but because they don't have it up here, they're not consistent with it. Do you see what I mean? Because it depends on what happens on the day kind of thing. It depends on how everything feels. Whereas the great players, like, nearly every day is just their day, bruv. Do you see what I mean? And like, when you watch certain great players do things, like when you watch Ronaldinho just pull the ball out of the air, like when you watch Lionel Messi, like he doesn't have to touch the ball. As soon as Messi gets the ball, he could just drop a shoulder and everyone in the crowd's gone, fam. And then he's gone the other way. Like, it's mad effortless. Like, Messi could play drunk, fam. Do you know what I mean? They're just elite. Like, Robin Van Persie scored a goal in the testimonial for Vincent Kompany. And the way Robin Van Persie come inside, and man just whipped it so effortlessly. Like, you know the amount of times he scored goals like that? To the point where, like, he just whipped it and you just knew it was in. Like, straight away. And this is a man that's not active right now. But when you're just an elite player, like, these things just look easy. Like, it wasn't an easy chance, bruv. Man's 20 yards out and he's just curled it into the far corner. Like, when you're a great player, like, things just look easy to you, bruv. When you see certain man play football and you think, right, it looks like they're cheating. Like, that's the best way I could describe certain footballers, isn't it? It's the best way I could describe it. Because when people say to me, like, how could you say that this player is world class and this other player isn't world class? I think it's because I like and I respect the finesse and the artistry of football. Like, for me, football's an art form, innit? So when I see these players that make things look hard and it looks like they're trying and they make things look ugly, I don't gravitate towards that, because for me, that's not the true art of the game. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, there's no reason, no matter what position you're in, you can make it look beautiful. You can make defending look beautiful if you want. You can. You know what I mean? There's not a single position you can play, yeah, that you can't make it look beautiful if it just comes naturally to you. Like, there's beauty in seeing Wan-Bissaka winning all these slide tackles. The reason why it's beautiful is because it looks effortless, blood. Man's finishing games without giving away fouls, getting booked. How's man got 100% tackles completed, bro? Like, man's making 15 to 20 tackles a game and winning the ball all the time. Not giving away no fouls. That's beautiful. If a man kept sliding in all the time and he's giving away bare fouls and yellow cards, that's not beautiful, fam. Do you see what I mean? Then it just looks like you're just getting caught out of position. You're just fucking up, bro, and you're desperate. So I just think when I see a player like a Van Persie, like a Eric Cantona, he was one of my favourite players. Do you know what I mean? The way he can walk past a man and chip a man, blood. Only great players do that. When Zidane's doing 360s against grown man with a mortgage and kids and that, yeah, that's what great players do. When you're chipping fucking World Cup final penalties and then headbutting, man, bruv. You see what I mean? Like, only great players chip pens in World Cup finals. There's just different levels to this football thing. And I think that a lot of people mistake really good players for great players. And that's just my opinion, innit? I think the greats have that extra bit of stardust on top of them that the really good players don't have, innit? And I think that, and that's why for me, like certain players, I think Rooney was a very good player, but I don't think he was a great player. Because I think that Van Persie was a level above that. I think Van Persie is the best striker that I've seen play for Manchester United in my lifetime. Like, in terms of just pure finisher, complete striker, bro. Both feet he could score, headers, man took free kicks, penalties, volleys, bruv. The volley that he scored over his shoulder against Aston Villa is one of my favourite goals I've seen, just from how deliberate it was. Like, Rooney scored a banging volley against Newcastle. Everyone would talk about that. The ball come down and Rooney smashed it and the ball done all that and went in the top corner. But there was something a bit more deliberate about the placement of Van Persie's and just the technique and the way he guided it in. Do you know what I mean? As opposed to just smashing it and the power. When you hit the ball like that with that power, it can go anywhere. Do you know what I mean? Like, the way Van Persie hit it was so deliberate. Like, it just looks like Roger Federer with the racket when Van Persie hit the ball. Everything was just poetry, fam. So for me, that is the artistry that comes with them elite level ballers in it that like the really good players don't have. But that's just my opinion in it. So I'm just trying to explain it to you as best as possible so you can kind of see what my thought process is when man thinking that I'm disrespecting certain ballers. But I'm not disrespecting them. I'm just saying that there's levels. You have to understand levels, blood. You can't just say everyone's world class and group them in together, because it's disrespectful grouping in players like Neymar and that with players like, I'm not even going to use Sterling again. It's just that everyone was talking about Sterling, the Sterling world class thing. But even like Jadon Sancho, like again, Jadon Sancho, in terms of talent, I think that Jadon Sancho is going to be the best player of his era, bruv. I think in terms of talent, he's way more talented than a Sterling or anyone that I've seen. But he needs to get to the level of maturity where he's getting the numbers that Raheem's getting. And if he's not getting the numbers that Raheem's getting, man will still say, yeah, well, Raheem's better than him because look at the numbers. So to get to that top level, there needs to be a correlation between your numbers and obviously what it looks like as well. Do you know what I'm saying? But I think Jadon Sancho is going to be one of the best players, man, I've ever seen in an England shirt, period. But if a man can say he's world class, because some people might be saying it already, you can't compare man to Neymar already. So there must be a level above world class, fam. So let me know what you think in the comments. Very good questions. That's why this video is longer than what I expected it to be. But fucking hell, if you keep giving me good questions, I have to try and answer them thoroughly, guys. So make sure you smash the like button if you haven't already. Be sure to leave your comments. I like seeing the nice friendly debates and that in the comment section. You can keep those going and that. Remember, it's all about opinions, guys. So make sure you respect each other's opinions. Make sure you follow the socials at Rants and Bants on Twitter and Instagram. And your Rants Red Talk's coming up. And if you haven't seen the last Flex and Rant show, make sure you go watch it. Flex with his little Roy Keane fucking Irish accent was killing, man. It was emotional still. That was one of the funniest shows that we've done. So big up for your support and catch you again soon.